Welcome to Knock, Ireland. We are at the shrine of Knock, where St. John the Evangelist, Mary, and Joseph appeared with a lamb and a cross. Today, as we're here and we've prayed and been here, then we're going to read out of Leviticus 15 and 16. The four things I want to talk about first is that leprosy isn't the only thing that can go wrong with people in the Old Testament. We begin getting other things happening, different discharges from the body, whether normal or not part of daily life, including the menstrual cycle. Number 2, the women's menstrual cycle is unclean. She's got to wash everything affected, and she makes an offering after that. And the whole point, as it says in Leviticus, is to show what's clean from unclean, to separate the two in life. And of course, we know that's holiness and unholiness is the picture. We're separating the two. Number 3, as we move on, we find Aaron must offer a goat in an empty tabernacle. Everybody's got to be gone, and it's going to be the scapegoat, which will be a clear picture of sin, and him putting his hand on it and it being led out into the wilderness is forgiveness of sin. So that's the chapter following the bodily fluids one. And 4, the Day of Atonement is set, and that is going to be a specific day every year, the 7th month and the 10th day of every year. So let's get reading in those chapters. Chapter 15, And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When any man hath a running issue out of his flesh, because his issue is unclean, this shall be his uncleanness in his issue. Whether his flesh run with issue, or his flesh be stopped from his issue, it is uncleanness. Every bed whereon he lieth and hath the issue is unclean, and everything whereon he sitteth shall be unclean. And whosoever toucheth his bed shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until even. And that he sitteth on anything whereath he hath sat hath the issue, shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until even. And he that toucheth the flesh of him that hath the issue shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean. And if he hath the issue spit upon him that is clean, then he shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and he will be unclean until even. And what saddle soever he rideth on hath the issue shall be unclean. And whosoever toucheth anything that was under him shall be unclean, eaten till the even. And he that beareth any of those things shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until even. And whomsoever he toucheth that hath the issue, and hath not rinsed his hands in water, he shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until even. And the vessel of earth that he toucheth, which hath the issue, shall be broken, and every vessel of wood shall be rinsed in water. And when he that hath an issue is cleansed of his issue, he shall number himself to 7 days for his cleansing, wash his clothes, bathe his flesh in running water, and shall be clean. And on the 8th day he shall take him 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, and shall come before the Lord unto the door of the tabernacle of congregation, and give them unto the priest. And the priest shall offer them, the one for a sin offering, and the other for a burnt offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for him before the Lord of his issue. And if any man's seed of copulation go out from him, then he shall wash all his flesh in water, and be unclean until the even. And every garment and every skin whereon is the seed of copulation shall be washed with water, and shall be unclean until even. The woman also, with whom a man shall lie with the seed of copulation, they shall both bathe themselves in water, and be unclean until even. So that's laws for the man and things he'll run across. Now if a woman have an issue, and her issue of flesh be blood, she shall be put apart 7 days, and whosoever toucheth her shall be unclean until the even. And everything that she lieth upon in her separation shall be unclean. Everything she also sitteth upon shall be unclean. And whosoever toucheth her bed shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until even. And whosoever toucheth anything she sat on shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until even. And if it be on her bed, or anything whereon she sitteth, then he shall, when he toucheth it, he shall be unclean until the even. And if any man would lie with her at all, and her flowers be upon him, she shall be unclean 7 days. He shall be unclean 7 days, and all the bed whereon he lieth shall be unclean. And if the woman have an issue of her blood many days out of the time of her separation, or if it run beyond the time of her separation, all the days of the issue of her uncleanness shall be as the days of her separation. She shall be unclean. Every bed whereon she lieth, all the days of her issue shall be as unto her as the bed of her separation. And whatsoever she sitteth on shall be unclean, as the uncleanness of her separation. And whosoever toucheth those things shall be unclean, and shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until evening. But if she be cleansed of her issue, then shall number herself 7 days, and after that she shall be clean. And on the 8th day she shall take 2 turtle doves, or 2 young pigeons, and bring them unto the priest, to the door of the tabernacle of congregation. And the priest shall offer one for the sin offering, and the other for a burnt offering. And the priest shall make atonement before her, before the Lord, for the issue of her uncleanness. Thus she shall separate the children of Israel from their uncleanness, that they not die in their uncleanness, when they may defile the tabernacle among them. This is the law of them that hath the issue, of him that seed goeth from him, and is defiled therewith, or her that is sick of her flowers, and of him that hath an issue, of the man and of the woman, and of him that lieth with her that is unclean. You see, those are kind of interesting things. They're kind of daily experience in a nation, but God was showing them the difference between the clean and the unclean. Chapter 16, and the Lord spoke unto Moses after the death of the 2 sons of Aaron, when they offered before the Lord, and died. And the Lord said unto Moses, Speak unto Aaron thy brother, and when he come not at all at times unto the holy place within the veil, before the mercy seat which is on the ark, that he die not. For I will appear in a cloud upon the mercy seat. Thus shall Aaron come to the holy place with a young bullock for a sin offering, and a ram for a burnt offering. He shall put on the holy linen coat, and he shall have the linen breeches upon his flesh, and shall be girded with a linen girdle, and with a linen mitre shall he be attired. And these are the holy garments, therefore he shall wash his flesh in water, and so shall put on them. And he shall take of the congregation of the children of Israel 2 kids of the goats for a sin offering, and 1 ram for a burnt offering. And Aaron shall offer his bullock of the sin offering, which is for himself, and shall make an atonement for himself and for his house. And he shall take the 2 goats, and present them before the Lord at the door of the tabernacle of congregation. And Aaron shall cast lots upon 2 goats, one for the Lord, and the other lot for the scapegoat. This is where we get that phrase, scapegoat. And Aaron shall bring the goat which the Lord's lot fell, and offer him for sin offering. But the goat which the lot fell to be the scapegoat shall be presented alive before the Lord, to make an atonement with him, and to let him go for a scapegoat into the wilderness. And Aaron shall bring the bullock for a sin offering, which is for himself, and shall make an atonement for himself and for his house, and shall kill the bullock of the sin offering, which is for himself. And he shall take a censer full of burning coals of fire from off the altar before the Lord, and his hands full of sweet incense beaten small, and bring it within the veil. And he shall put the incense upon the fire before the Lord, that the cloud of incense may cover the mercy seat that is upon the testimony, that he die not. And he shall take of the blood of the bullock, and sprinkle it with his finger on the mercy seat eastward, and before the mercy seat shall he sprinkle with his blood of his finger 7 times. Then he shall kill the goat of the sin offering, that is for the people, and he will bring his blood within the veil, and do that blood as he did with the blood of the bullock, and sprinkle it upon the mercy seat, and before the mercy seat. And he shall make atonement for the holy place, because of the uncleanness of the children of Israel, and because of their transgressions and all their sins. And so he shall do for the tabernacle of the congregation that remaineth among them in the midst of their uncleanness. And there shall be no man in the tabernacle of the congregation when he goeth in to make atonement in the holy place, until he come out and have made atonement for himself and his household, and for the congregation of Israel. And he shall go out unto the altar that is before the Lord, and shall make atonement for it, and shall take the blood of the bullock and the blood of the goat, and put it upon the horns of the altar round about. And he shall sprinkle of the blood with his finger 7 times, and cleanse it, and hallow it for the uncleanness of the children of Israel. And when he hath made an end of reconciling the holy place, and the tabernacle of the congregation, and the altar, he shall bring the live goat. And Aaron shall lay his hands upon the head of the live goat, and confess over him all the iniquities of the children of Israel, and all their transgressions and all their sins. putting them upon the head of the goat, and he shall send them away by the hand of a fit man into the wilderness. And the goat shall bear upon him all their iniquities unto a land not inhabited, and he shall let the goat go into the wilderness. And Aaron shall come into the tabernacle of the congregation, shall put off the linen garments which he put when he went into the holy place, and he shall leave them there. And he shall wash his flesh with water in the holy place, and put on his garments, and come forth, and offer his burnt offering and the burnt offering of the people, and make atonement for himself and the people. And the fat of the sin offering shall he burn upon the altar, and he shall let go the goat for the scapegoat. And he shall wash his clothes and bathe his flesh in afterward, and come into the camp. And the bullock for the sin offering and the goat for the sin offering, whose blood was brought in to make atonement in the holy place, shall went forth, carry forth without the camp, and they shall burn with fire their skins and their flesh and their dung. So I just wanted to say before we get all the way to the end here, that is a wonderful picture of forgiveness, that our sin is removed far from us in a place that we don't know, that we don't go. And that is the picture that God sets up of the forgiveness he wants to give. And he that burneth them shall wash his clothes and bathe his flesh in water, and afterwards he shall come into the camp. And this shall be a statute forever unto you, that is in the 7th month, on the 10th day of the month. You shall afflict your souls, and do no work at all, whether it be one of your own country or a stranger that sojourneth among you. For on that day the priest shall make atonement for you, to cleanse you, that you may be clean from all your sins before the Lord. It shall be a Sabbath of rest to you. Ye shall afflict your souls by statute forever. And the priest whom shall anoint, and whom we shall consecrate as minister unto the priest's office in his father's stead, shall make the atonement, and shall put on the linen clothes, even the holy garments. And he shall make an atonement for the holy sanctuary, and he shall make an atonement for the tabernacle of the congregation, and the altar. And he shall make atonement for the priests and for all the people of the congregation. And this shall be an everlasting statute to you, to make an atonement for the children of Israel and all their sins once a year. And he did as the Lord commanded Moses. Well, it's beautiful that we can have atonement for sins. We'll keep on looking through Leviticus as we go. We'll catch you next time.